I am Sunam in Columbia Asia Hospital, Patiala, giving me an opportunity to talk on this topic here. So I would like to tell you about the basics of head injury, as it is the most common emergency which you people encounter on day-to-day basis, whether you are a physician, you are a gynecologist, or you are a surgeon. So, as we say, time is brain. So a life can be saved with very small and simple measures rather than doing very big things at that time. What is head injury? Any injury to the skull or the brain is called as head injury. Majority of the death occur in the first 74 hours. So that is the golden period, the first hour, then the first day, then the second and then the third day. So that is the golden period where we can save the life of the patient. In the causes, most common cause is road traffic accidents, then falls, then assaults, then firearm related injuries and the sports related injuries. It is the most common type of injury and the most common type of death in young individuals. As I classify, they are closed, that is high velocity accidents, that are auto accidents, and the low velocity which are related to fall in the old age or assault. Then the penetrating by the sharp objects or by the gunshot wounds. So any head injury, we classify it with the help of GCS. All of you know about the GCS, that is the Glasgow Coma Scale. And the normal Glasgow Coma Scale is 15, that is for a normal conscious patient. And the score of 3 is in the brain dead. So we classify the head injury as related to Glasgow Coma Scale, that is the GCS score. And it is a worldwide accepted score. If you are sitting at your clinic and you inform a neurosurgeon that my patient's score is this, so he can tell you very easily that whether your patient requires any intervention or not. So that is the beauty of this score. It is just like a cricket score or football score, as it is same all over the world. So the mild GCS is 14 to 15 in the mild head injury. In the moderate, the GCS is 9 to 13, and in the severe, GCS is 8 or less, and the patient is comatose. I'm not going to the classification. This is the most important slide. As the first symptom with head injury is loss of consciousness. Any patient coming to you with trauma, with a history of loss of consciousness, whether he arrives in a conscious state or unconscious state, is very important. As all of you know, there is one thing called lucid interval in EDH. So any patient which was unconscious initially comes to you in clinic, and now the patient is conscious, and again the patient may or may not become unconscious. In the lucid interval, the patient again becomes unconscious. So the history of LOC is very important in any head injury patient, should not be missed and should be tackled with very care. Second thing is seizure. Seizure is the increased activity of the brain after the head injury because of anything irritating the cortical surface of the brain. So history of seizure again is very important, should not be missed. Then the neurological deficit. These are called as localizing signs. So any patient coming to you with head injury, first of all, we should give it a primary survey. Primary survey will tell you whether the patient is conscious or not conscious. If he or she is unconscious, then what is the GCS? Then there are localizing signs which we call as neurological deficits. There may be a deviation of one side of the face, that is injury to the facial nerve, which is most common. Sometime before checking GCS, one should check the pupils. So sometimes there are abnormality in pupils. There is one side dilatation and the other side there is constriction. So a very simple sign, the pupillary dilatation, should not be missed because it indicates increased in ICP. Amnesia, there may be a short-term memory loss or the patient is talking irrelevantly. There may be persistent nausea or projectile vomiting due to the raised ICP. Any patient who is conscious can present with vomiting, and that may be a simple vomiting. But even if the patient is conscious and he is having persistent nausea and vomiting, should have a CT scan done to that patient, and it can give a justice to the patient. Then there is bleeding, which can be outside the skull or inside the skull. As all of we know, the bleeding which is outside the skull is nothing to worry. That can be a simple hematoma, that is an exudate, which will clear on its own. But any bleeding inside the skull may present with history of LOC, seizure, neurological deficits, or persistent vomiting or nausea. Then you should not miss history of the visual disturbance in any patient who is conscious, comes to your clinic with a history of head injury. So you should rule out the optic nerve, so one can save the eye of the patient. Then there is persistent headache, dizziness or drowsiness. So any patient with GCS less than 15 should be sent for a CT scan examination. Any patient with head injury who comes to you with history of LOC, what should be done? What are the steps and what should be done step by step? All of we know the ABC, the airway, breathing and the circulation. That should be followed. Then the vitals of the patient, the blood pressure, the heart rate. In head injury patient, there is a classic Cushing's triad, that is hypertension and bradycardia. Any patient with roadside accident coming to you with BP more than 160, 180, no history of hypertension, and with heart rate of less than 60, 56, 54 should not be missed, because that is almost a clear-cut case of head injury. So that should not be missed. Then the general state of the patient, the general state of the limbs of the patient, whether patient is obeying commands or any decerebrate or withdrawal reflex. Then in the primary survey, one can look for wounds, lacerations or abrasion. If he needs a primary suturing to control the bleeding, that should be done in the primary care center. Or any obvious deformities or abnormalities of the face or the skull. Visual inspection of the cranium should be done to look out if there is any visible bone which has been fractured or broken and is coming out. So that patient also requires a CT. Raccoon eyes are the periorbital ecchymosis, which signifies the fracture to the base of the skull. If the patient is conscious, comes to you with raccoon eyes or what we say as a black eye, nothing need to be done, but should only to be monitored for CSF rhinorrhea in the future, because that may lead to meningitis. A simple patient coming to you walking with history of RSA, with history of raccoon eyes and black eye, may die in future with meningitis. So he or she should be explained in advance risk of CSF rhinorrhea, and he should report immediately if there is any case in the case of CSF rhinorrhea. Then there is battle sign, which indicates the fracture to middle cranial fossa. That is the post-auricular ecchymosis. There is a bruise, there is redness to blackness on the back side of your ear, which indicates fracture to middle cranial fossa, and the patient may become deaf in future if there is hemotympanum or there is CSF photoria. Then check for facial